Howdy ho, YouTube. Welcome to the Dam of Dreams. So wonderful to have you aboard for part 28 of Horizon Zero Dawn with the Therapist. Hard to believe we're already at part 28. It is fantastic that you have made it this far in the playthrough. Just know, for every subsequent episode of this series you watch, you become increasingly my favorite viewer because it's awesome that so many of you are willing to take this full journey with me. You are even more special to me if you leave a thumbs up on the video. You're even more special to me if you engage with the links in the description. If you leave a comment, oh, baby, that's just chef's freaking kiss for you. I read all of them. I don't respond to all of them, but I do read all of them. So thank you for leaving those comments. I'm enjoying the Dam of Dreams with our good Oseram buddy. I hope you are too. Excited to see what's in this door. Kind of treasures await us here in part 28. Question I asked you just a little bit ago if you're binging the series. All right, see what's happening. Thanks for being here. My man. Hey. Hey. All right, so we'll open the door.
We drained enough water for what we need to do, but I wonder if I could empty out the whole dam.
Maybe. That'd be pretty neat. Seems to me we got more lore to read, so.
Pipes, valves. Maybe I can drain the rest of the water from here. Sure are a lot of valves. Should check my focus first. Perhaps my focus can help me.
Should check the lore first, Aloy. Valves 101, here we go, by Laura Vogel. Yo, Shelly! Trapped in servitor hell over here. Got in this morning, and as usual, that one half-baked chrome dolt was bumping up against the locked entry door in the reservoir room, moaning about requiring entry into the totality of the facility. Between its robot voice and those weird grindy sounds its limbs make, the acoustics reminded me of a track from one of the less accessible German post-punk bands. I've told them and told them every night the pipe network decouples so that the reservoir can refill, and every morning it has to be reset manually. All you have to do is turn the valve thingy so that the water flows directly to the pump. The rest of the servitors seem to get it, but this guy won't stop bugging out. I mean, I know we're supposed to be on-site advisors, but this is getting ridiculous. Do I have to scratch the instructions into their stupid shiny faces? All you have to do is follow the damn train, CJ. All you have to do is turn the valve thingy so that the water flows directly to the pump. There's a lot of pumps down here. All right, let's get a lay of the land.
All right, time to get the flow going to the right place.
Oh,
I say this
baby.
as a man typically enamored of complexities, but this looks like it might be a little much for me.
Don't worry, I think I've got this.
Music to my ears. To each job, its proper tool. Toothpicks make horrible arrows, as the saying goes.
Oh, baby. All right, so I guess the important question first is what direction is the water flowing? We got a little turbine here. All right, I'm guessing the water. All right, so the water comes from here. That's busted.
You got a competent mind, girl.
Brother?
A mind for nuance and finesse. Not I. No, indeed. Not old Gildan.
Gildan reminds me of the Drifter from Destiny. Brother, get your ass up on that balcony and let a girl do her job, all right? Okay, so.
That didn't help. The water can't pass through.
I'm aware of that, Aloy. You're going to have to give me a second here to assess the situation. So that one's busted. That can go over there. This pipe goes back to the middle. This pipe goes to a busted ass pipe again. Okay.
I'm afraid I inherited my
So we
mother's
go here.
restlessness.
We can send it over to this guy. This guy sends it down here and then sends it straight. So this is gonna go. And this.
Been at this a while, girl. No room to judge, mind. I once spent half a day flummoxed by a Karja puzzle box.
Shut up, bud. Just let me do my damn job. So you can send the water backwards.
Looks like I'm on the right track.
Yeah. That's really interesting that you... Oh! Wait a second. Okay. So if I do... Okay. Got it. Alright. Then this guy is gonna turn here.
There. One step closer.
Turn this the wrong way. There we go. And then this guy is there. And then this guy.
Getting there.
Da-da, da-da, da-da. Okay, good.
Looks like I'm on the right track.
Yeah. And then we go like that. Ba-da, ba-da.
I should head back. See if that's okay for the rest of the day.
Got it working, did you? Of course you did. Never met a conundrum you couldn't unconundrum, have you?
The door's open. Guess it had sealed because of the flooding.
Yeah. Wait, is that?
This must go down to the lower level. Ugh, it stinks down here.
You smell that? Smells like a forge side morning in a claim.
Ugh. Compensatory damages.
See? Check this out. We could just bang on this pipe, you know? Could we sample that or? Totally. Like, what about after the... Oh, sorry. Just a sec. Laura? I need to take a break. Laura? Hey! Laura!
Dear Nobody, I feel embarrassed now thinking about following Laura out of the pump station like a kicked puppy, wondering what horrible thing I might have done until she threw herself into this room and shut the door behind her and just screamed. The fear of abandonment is weirdly self-centered, because it presupposes that little old you are filled with such immense destructive power that you're capable of driving every person you care about away. If that's not one of the most powerful statements I've ever read about a fear of abandonment in a video game, that is never going to be topped. That is so ridiculously well worded. And it ain't wrong. And I don't mean that in a judgmental way, but that's the type of perspective that we generally want to help folks come to understand a bit when that fear is located in that type of direction. By the way, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about how fear of abandonment can, in its most extreme form, lead to something like borderline personality disorder, I encourage you to check that video out on YouTube. But that is incredibly well written. I'm going to write it again. The fear of abandonment is weirdly self-centered because it presupposes that little old you are filled with such immense destructive power that you're capable of driving every person you care about away. What a lot of people will do is they will compensate for that worry by pushing people away intentionally so that they can control it. Anyway, at the bottom of the dam, with her on one side of the door and me on the other, she told me that Metallurgic had bought her mom's house, her whole neighborhood. In fact, out from under her to build a new server farm. Oh, God. I don't even like that house, she said. I don't even like Indianapolis. I hated every minute I spent in that city as a kid. When they told us we'd have to leave the dam, I went back to my apartment and I sat on my bed and I prayed to God I prayed to a God I don't even believe in, that I wouldn't have to move back home, that I wouldn't have to show up on my mom's front stoop with a suitcase and a bunch of stupid excuses. She was trying not to sound like she was crying. She sounded like she was crying. Guess I got my stupid wish, huh? I asked her where she'd go, and she laughed. Where else could she go? Back home to help her mother pack the house, to move with her into whatever dank little one-room hole Metallurgic's displacement grant will allow them to afford? I think I could have dealt with being one of those losers who celebrate their 40th birthday living in a house they grew up in, but now I don't even have that. I had no idea how to make her feel better, so I just sat on the other side of the door. I started singing the song we were working on. One about being the last two girls on Earth, and eventually, she started singing along. Love, Shelley.
Looks like that's everything. I should head back up with Gildan.
So, as we circle back around to the matter of the supply room,
Yes. Go on. Okay, yeah, go first, bud.
I can't wait, I can't wait, I can't wait! Almost there!
Dude, buddy, no, watch out. This shit's rickety as shit.
Soon I'll hold the looking glass in my hand. Just like Mom and I used to.
Oh, boy. All right, buddy. I love your excitement, but we're gonna chill out a little bit here.
Another holographic interface. Must be some kind of code. Maybe I should try scanning objects in this area.
Some kind of code. It seems like it basically already told me what it is by... Oh, God.
What are you doing with your hands there, girl?
Turning knobs, you knob.
I can't believe that worked. I thought you'd lost your mind, tickling the empty air like that.
Remember, Aloy's focus is what makes it so she can see that shit. He can't see that. What do you got here, buddy? I'm gonna read some lore first.
Where is it? Where did it go?
I mean, this is it. We get to play together, what, maybe 2 more times? Nah, shells. Farewell tour! Reunion tour in like 6
Could have
months.
sworn I saw one in here.
Let's do it all the time. For our adoring fans, it's not that hard to stay in touch, Shelly. We could practice in holospace. People always say that.
Dear Nobody, we got in a fight, Laura and I. After practice, we went out for drinks. There's this row bar in downtown Cody, so we called in the auto car and shuttled over. We were the only people there. With the park closing, Cody's become a ghost town. The more we drank, the more passive-aggressive our banter became, snowballing out of control, metastasizing in the empty air between us. And then before either of us really knew what was happening, we were yelling at each other. I kept thinking, like, I'm not abandoning her. She's abandoning me. And I guess she was probably thinking the same, something similar. We got quiet for a while, drank more. Eventually, Laura ordered an auto car, and we piled into it. Slid as far from each other on the back seat as we could, arms crossed, staring out of the window. And then I heard myself talking. Screw it. I don't care if you stay in touch with me. I'm going to stay in touch with you, whether you like it or not. You're not getting rid of me ever. Laura looked at me for what felt like ages. I thought she was going to start yelling, but her hand crept over to mine and we just sat there together. Bottoms up. Shelly. It is easier for many people to disperse vulnerability and to manage the impending distance, either of a relationship or of their physical bodies, with anger. Anger is something that people will turn toward and lean into and then act upon, because it's a lot easier to do that than it is to be sad. And the sad thing about it is that Shelly and Laura are essentially taking the anger they have and the disappointment and the frustration about the world around them out on each other, because they're proximal, but because they're also going to get split by it. And people in long distance relationships will tell you frequently that this is what happens. Like when you have to go back to distance after you see each other, you'll get in these stupid little fights. Because if you're mad, it softens the blow of the sadness. It's very important to be aware of that and to remind yourself that it's okay to be sad. The circumstances really are frustrating. They also are sad. And it's way more connective to lean into that sadness and that vulnerability in the long run than it is to engage with anger. Anger is a distancing experience. It often leads to behaviors that create distance. In some ways, it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy of perceived abandonment, as we're reading about between the two of them. It's okay to have some anger well up, but you have to decide what you want to do with that. And one of the things you can do with that is divert your attention over to what's actually going on here. And if it isn't anger, what might it be? I'm sad. I'm vulnerable. I'm helpless. These two don't want to separate from each other, but the circumstances are pushing them in that direction. And handling the reality of that is so soul-crushing to them that it's a lot easier to just drum up frustration and hatred for each other so that it feels like it's a better thing to go off your separate ways. I applaud Shelly for breaking through that. It's amazing how these people aren't even here and you feel such a connected.
Can't have imagined it.
Like,
One doesn't
feel
imagine
such
such
connection to
things,
them.
not 2 delves in a row.
What's up, buddy? You okay?
Gilden? Everything okay?
I was so sure I saw it. The looking glass. I was so sure.
Right there in the window. I would... Of course.
Trick of the light, nothing
Trick
at
of the
all.
light. Nothing
Oh,
at
okay.
all.
I'm sorry, Gilden. It must have meant a lot to you.
Oh.
Oh, Aloy. Aloy. Coming in hard with the empathy. I just want to highlight that. What Aloy just did there, that response right there, that's empathy. And that is going to open him up. That is a real acknowledgement of his experience right now. It's not Aloy inserting herself into it. It's not Aloy making it about herself. It is Aloy legitimately connecting with his experience. I'm guessing because she once lost her focus, or because of the disappointment of the fact that she found out she doesn't have a mom. And she had her hopes up, and then they came crashing down. Instead of entering this situation and saying, well, you know, Gilden, one time I was looking for my mom, and it didn't end up being what I was hoping either, which would make it about her. She channels what her experience of that was. Like, man, that must have meant a lot to you, and it must suck that it didn't come through in the way that you wanted it to. That's empathy right there. The way that Aloy handled that is so beautiful. It's such a great example, and you see how it happens that quick. It's that small. Empathy doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It can be something quick like that, and it makes all the difference to a person like Gilden feeling heard, validated, acknowledged, and is likely to open up and perhaps get more vulnerable here because of Aloy's connection to his experience. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, much as any artifact of the old ones would mean to me, really. It's fine. I'm fine. Besides, what are the spoils compared to the delve? That's why we do it, girl. The delve, not the treasure.
This guy has a very consistent psychological profile. And we talked about this in the last episode when we met him, when I told you all that Gilden has learned to be joking and charismatic as a way to ward off vulnerable moments. And the vulnerable moments doesn't always have to mean when he's in trouble. It can also mean when he is sad. And we just saw it. I encourage you to go back after I say this next piece, and I encourage you to go back and watch this moment before I paused it again. Because it's a real lesson in content and versus process. And he's very consistent in his process. He experienced vulnerability. He's opening up to Aloy. Aloy is empathic toward him. And then we see this shift. We see this like recognition of the vulnerability. And then we see him just all of a sudden kind of switch gears and go into he's talking himself into an alternative narrative around this. And he's bringing back that like joking, jovial, gregarious, charismatic vibe. Now, I'm not saying that him doing that is a bad thing, but it very much is consistent in terms of how he orients himself to adversity and to pain. And that's, again, it's a learned response. It's almost as if he's taking care of Aloy by worrying or wondering whether his sadness is a bit much, or maybe he doesn't have a very high tolerance for his sadness. And so he snaps back into what he knows. That's okay in certain contexts. And I'm not here to tell him that it's ever wrong, but I do worry that for Gilden, he is potentially missing out on opportunities to get in touch with himself, in addition to allowing people to connect with him in more intimate ways, by constantly taking care of them via being jolly. And that's the type of process that if a person is like depressed chronically can really perpetuate the depression and a sense of loneliness because people aren't connecting with you underneath the surface level thing that you're putting out there. It's like the whole, cliche of like a clown who paints the happy face but is actually really sad. Gildan has spoke about his mother quite a bit. I don't know if she's still around. I don't recall. But like this was something he was really looking forward to. This is a world that doesn't have a ton of cool shit going on to look forward to, and this guy found something and it was exciting and he was looking forward to it, and then he got disappointed and he was bummed out. But he just won't allow himself to sit in that. He won't allow himself to engage with that authentic experience for too long. He immediately zooms himself back up to the surface and tries to disperse the tension here. It's his decision ultimately to do that. But there may be some drawbacks to that. It's kind of a bummer to watch him do that. Because part of me wants to be like, hey, dude, it's all right to be sad about this. You seem to be really excited about this, and it didn't come through for you. It's a bummer. We can talk about that part of it. You don't have to change the story for me. You don't have to talk yourself into this being okay. Sometimes things aren't okay. Anyway, just it's a cool illustration of like how if you only listen to what he says, you sort of lose that. If you pay attention to his process of how he communicates, like the actual dynamic underneath it, you can really see the consistency in the way that he's written there, and it's beautiful. Steve, thanks for the 7 months. So it might be helpful if he could let himself say, hey, that makes me sad. I really wanted that. Yeah, I'm not saying he has to be in this deep down dark depression for the next 30 days because this didn't work out for him. But in this moment, he can sit with that for a minute. And I think it's very important for all of us to do that. Like when you experience, one of the ways that you habituate yourself to your own emotional experience is to allow yourself to sit with it. Like emotions actually become less scary if you give them the opportunity to hang out and you just be curious about them rather than making these value judgments about certain things. Like the implicit statement that he's making to himself here when he experiences that disappointment is like, that's not okay. Don't show that. Don't be that. Which is a polarization to his experience. And so then he compensates and kicks himself back up. Whereas maybe it would be worthwhile for him to be like, damn. That sucks. And I just need to feel that for a minute.
And what a delve it was! Ugh. By the great blazing forge, I'll never forget that. Now then, I believe we have some repairs to make.
Now, if I'm wrong and that's genuinely his experience, that he just talks himself up to it and he's happy again and he's all good to go, then he would just correct me there and say, hey, that's not true to my experience. But his reaction there suggests to me that he's hurting. Sometimes people who are the jokester, who lighten the mood, who carry themselves in the way that Gildan does, put a lot of pressure on themselves to maintain that because they worry about what it will mean for their belonging if they don't. Will people still accept me? Will people still want me around if I show them some of the other aspects of my humanity? It can really feel like a prison sometimes, and it sucks.
Okay, let's fix the panel and shut this place down.
By the way, that's not pressure other people are putting on you. Probably pressure you're putting on yourself. Yeah, the button. Oh, yeah. Let him hit the button. Yeah! Oh, I love it.
Oh, that's a whole lot prettier, isn't it? What does it mean?
It means it worked.
By the forge. You are a wonder! Do you hear that often? I'll hazard a guess you do.
I've heard something like that once or twice.
Oh, she's modest now. A master of the arts of the old ones, a delver to shame the entire claim, and she wants to be modest. Ha!
It's not like I did it alone, Gildan.
No. No, I suppose not.
So what's next for you? On your way back to the claim?
And deprive the people of Song's Edge the story of this encounter? Perish the thought! I'll stay there a while longer. But a story is best told by all who encountered it. Come and lend a hand, won't you?
Yeah! Yeah!
Overflow basin empty. Interior accessible. Minimal flood damage.
Sounds like the basin is dried out too. Maybe I'll take a look.
Another adventure so soon? Whew, you're braver than me. But there was no question of that.
That's some pretty serious growth on Aloy's point. That's some pretty serious growth on Aloy's part. And I am, whether this was intentionally done by the developers or not, it works. And the reason it works is because I think Aloy, he had to essentially grow by the amount of diversity in all of the interactions she's had since she left the Nora lands. Like, it's so important for us to be around different people with different needs and different temperaments and different levels of intellect. And just, it's so important to be around that. Because via trial and error that you don't even necessarily consciously participate in, you start to learn what are the things that draw people in and what are the things that push people away. Aloy was not the most tactful in her interactions early on in the game. And you'll recall that I was in some ways critical of her, despite being empathic of her limited social interactions. Like, I could extend her grace on that. But it doesn't change the fact that she was not particularly tactful. Now we get to this, where we're with Gildan, and she has all of these interactions behind her. And she connects with him in a way that we haven't really seen her connect with a ton of people, to the point that they go into the storage unit. She recognizes the disappointment and the fact that this guy didn't get the treasure. She remembers how excited he was talking about the button, and she allows him to push it, which is like a really cool gesture. She allows him to be excited about it. She gives him a chance to talk her up a bit. She then also reminds him that he was part of this story. That's connective. That's awesome. And that's facilitated by him to an extent, but that's also Aloy's growth in her socialization, because of the fact that she left a very homogenous area with very rigid customs and exposed herself to the world. That's why I always emphasize how important diverse representation is for the human brain, for our relationship development. Like, that is why it's important. Because of, like, the way that this whole thing went down with Gildan is such a reflection of that. And it's awesome. And I really appreciate the way that all of this was written. You think Aloy possibly sees Gildan as a kindred spirit? I don't know. You'd have to ask Aloy if she's into the whole kindred spirit thing. I think that she has some empathy for him. I think that's really all it is. I think kindred spirits is just kind of a way of conceptualizing an increased capacity for empathy for a person, because maybe they have some shared experiences that you can connect with. Again, this guy was on a journey. Think about, like, seriously, think about this for a second. Don't compare the scale. If you compare the scale, you are missing the point. The process is, I'm excited about the potential of a thing. I have dedicated myself to the exploration of the thing and problem-solving ways in order to achieve the thing or acquire the thing. I get to the point where that thing ostensibly could have been acquired, and I got very disappointing news, was devastated by it, and then had to make the best of the information. That process, you could slot it into Aloy's quest to figure out who her mom is, and you can insert it into Gildan's quest to get into the treasure room. That process transcends those contexts. And if you don't compare them in that way, you're like, well, you know, Aloy finding her mother is more important than Gildan finding the treasure, which basically makes you a person who engages in judgment and comparison in a way that you really don't need to do, because you're going to miss out on connecting with both of these people if you do that. If you go there, you miss out on the reality that there is connective tissue here. That's where the empathy and intimacy is going to come from, if you can recognize that and engage with that. It's great.
You go on ahead. I'm gonna stand right here and bask in our victory for a while longer.
Do your thing, buddy. It was great. What a great mission. I really enjoyed that. Still don't understand.
And going by that sound, I think Aloy's already at the den.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't understand why it's so warm in there after all these years up here, but, you know, whatever. Not gonna worry about it. Yeah, I hear somebody making noise. We got more lore over here. Good.
There's frost between my teeth.
From Laura Vogel. To Shelley Guerrera Mackenzie from Laura Vogel. Subject, Emissions Joyride. Okay, girl, you are never gonna guess what happened on my way home last night. First thing, I heard this sound like a herd of killer bees escaping out of a tin can. Then there was this weird light through the trees. I was totally hoping it was aliens, but nah. It was one of those old blue spectrum LEDs. Looked super creepy on the snow. As it got closer, I heard some Yahoo letting out this weird guttural man shriek as if he were doing some macho primal scream therapy. You know, with 1,000 RPMs between his legs. Said Yahoo was none other than Dodd Blevins, our new Director of Security, or whatever his $20 title is. He was actually riding an old snowmobile. They're like 1,000 times more polluting than a combustion-era car. My expert professional opinion, Blevins is a grade A douche canoe. I decided not to sick the security bot on his flabby rear. After all, he's practically our boss for the next 2 weeks. But Shells, you might want to take a bathroom break now because you're going to lose it when you find out what I did instead. Alright, so I was standing right near one of the trail signs, and I could tell Blevins was headed for me, so I reprogrammed the sign to swap directions between Fairy Falls and Purple Mountain. Wicked, right? You'd never get a snowmobile up there. I hope he bailed out hard and had to walk back to the lodge. Guess I'll be filling my very first incident report right before this whole thing shuts down forever. I could let it slide like usual, but then where's the fun, Shells? Where is the fun? L. What a great relationship the two of them had. Don't throw it away on your perceived abandonment. Acknowledge the reality of your relationship, not what you're worried it could possibly be. Under the worst possible scenario. Just saying. Damn, this shit's loud. There at some point.
Sound's getting louder. She wasn't kidding about the sound.
Oh. Whoa. She already went down here? Damn, she was like ready to pounce.
Live from the illustrious Overflow Basin Studios, it's Concrete Beach Party! A one, a two, a 1, 2, 3, 4! Hard sellouts and runaway cowards, we've seen your type before. You remove us from the premises, but it's us who's showing you the door. You make the world so hard to live in, then act like we should crave a spot. But if we're not good enough for your world, we think your world can rock. Trapped in a circuit of hell, we still know our worth. Being bummed don't sell. We're the last girls on earth. Big dudes who draw big paychecks. We're all real impressed. You sing your robo-skeptic concrete beat until there's no one left. You G-men, you're such rock stars. We think it's super cool when you erase us and then you act like we should be making you. Trapped in some inner hell, we still know our worth.
Beat and burn, don't sell! The last girls on earth! Dude, Concrete Beach Party killing it. Can we just talk about for a second how Gorilla didn't have to do that at all? They didn't have to put that shit in here. Somebody had to like write those lyrics and record that song all for one data point that's sitting at the bottom of a freaking well. I just love it. I love the attention to detail and that they would go out of their way to make that story a thing. It's so awesome. Oh. Last girls on Earth. Dear nobody, the auto cars are on their way. Mine will take me to my apartment in Cody. Hers will take her to the vertiport. She brought her luggage with her to work today. Everything she owns, packed into 2 little suitcases. She's wearing the fanciest outfit I've ever seen her in. It's for Mom, she said. She bought me this outfit, if you can believe it. Normally, like, who cares, but I don't know. She's already dealing with a lot. We walked through the dam today, listened to all these tapes, read all these messages, and maybe this is one of those sign my yearbook, we'll never lose touch things, but I'm not scared of losing Laura anymore. We're family. We didn't inherit each other or settle on each other. We chose each other. No amount of distance, no number of jerks in bad suits or obsequious robots are going to tear us apart. So listen, on the off chance that someone ever actually does stumble onto these things, here's the truth. There was this band called Concrete Beach Party, and for a second, it was the best band in the world. And you, whoever you are really, really lucky because you're the only person who ever got to hear them. See you never. The last girls on Earth. Wow. I love how she's using this as an instrument, and that's like literally what those girls were doing here hundreds of years ago. It's great. So poetic. Don't mind me. Keep banging your drum. And she wouldn't have been able to read these hollows, I don't think. So.
You look happy to be playing again.
I don't know what you did, but the water drained in the snap of a short song. What do you think of the music?
I've never heard anything else like it.
That's because there's no other place with such resonance, such intonation that rattles your ribs with its power. And of course, no one else knows these pipes like I do. I learned them by ear before I could walk, strapped to my father's back. Thank you for draining the waters. Not just for myself, but for my ancestors and their songs. Please, take this as a token of our gratitude.
Nice. Play on. Just try not to get tetanus, all right? Concrete snow party. All right. What a cool mission. Who's that? Who's that? Banuke Wanderer? Hey! Hey! You there. What are you doing, bud? Hey! What are you doing? Getting your steps in? Guys, this is the traditional. You do some Banur mushrooms and you listen to Concrete Snow Party. Like, dude, like when I run one way, it's like easier than the other way, and it's like so consistent. But like, I'm moving laterally, but like one way feels vertically. This reminds me of there was a there's a kid when I was in grade school. When we would go to recess, there was this like concrete, I don't know, barrier thing that would run around the playground. And there was this one kid who every recess, every day, would go out, and the entire recess, he would just walk around the concrete barrier and just talk to himself. And I was always fascinated by it in the sense that, like, I was always like, man, how cool to just do that and be entertained by it and be perfectly happy. I always envied that. I was like, man, you know, like sometimes I just need like constant stimulation, or like I need something new. I need something to keep my brain going. Like this guy can just run back and forth like the kid in my grade school who would just walk around the barrier of the recess, and every single day just walk around and talk to himself and live in his imagination and have a great time. Just so great. It's what that reminds me of. I'll never forget that kid. All right. I kind of want to, God, I want to go. I guess we should go up here. We're going to find the rail part. I want to do the side stuff before I do the main quest line stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here because I want to see what's up here. Or maybe, no, maybe I go down here and we walk up top and then we'll come back over here. So we're going to go over here to this fire. What's going on here?
I'll find you some cover.
What are you guys doing? What's up? What you got? What are we doing? You hunting? Dude, the boar's like right there, bud. Yeah, and I mean, I envy that, Pox. Like, it's cool that people who find ways to entertain themselves and do their thing and are unapologetic about it. I think it's great.
Get down.
What was that noise? All right, whatever. All right, we got a freaking glint hawk up here.
Bad day for one of us. Feels like if I blink, my eyes will freeze shut.
Is that worse than them freezing open? That almost seems like it would be worse. Your eyelids just freeze open and your eyeballs just constantly get exposed to the cold air. Ugh. Maybe we should find some sweet snowboarder goggles. gotta be some stuff up here, right? Give me cool shit to walk on. And I'm looking for lore. No? Nothing? Alright. Ooh, big boy. We haven't seen one of these in a while.
Keep the upper hand. Makes this a little easier.
Oh, shit! Howdy. Woo! Oh man, that snow crunch noise, I love it.
They're scanning for me.
Oh! Whoa! Jesus, there's a lot of shit up here. What are y'all hiding up here? Stray Mutt, thank you for the 5 months. How is there nothing up here? Boo! The adventure we had along the way, right, Gildan? I am wearing the most powerful armor in the game, so I'm gonna be basically untouchable because I'm playing on story mode. Ain't nothing gonna kick my ass. I have yet to fight a Thunderjaw in it, but... It doesn't, right? It does. I mean, they're giving me climbing ledges, so... Oh man, a bonus vantage point guy thing would be great. Oh, here we go. What's this? Pigment, dark crystal. Ooh. Crystalline formations, dark in shade, a pigment used for Banuk rock painting. Trade sets at Song's Edge for valuable rewards. I mean, that's cool. All right, so we got that. Bust my ass to get it. Holy hell. But at least we got something out of it. Now. And make sure she had a parachute? Yeah. This was like Tears of the Kingdom. We'd have a good old time flying off this mountain. Oh boy. But instead we Skyrim climb. Because that's what your boy does so well. There you go. Alright, let's go to that campfire. Hey, thanks for being with me, YouTube. And those of you that are live here on Twitch, I appreciate your support of my channel. I'm grateful that you watch my stuff and that you engage with it in the ways that you do. It's very awesome to have such a cool community to surround all of this. If I didn't have you, I'd just be talking to myself. So thank you all for making the effort to come and hang out and watch these videos. Your most precious resource is your time, so the fact that you spend it with me is pretty badass. And this looks like the starting place for Destiny when you get your ghost. All right, let's see what's in here. I do love that she does the snow run.
Ursus Americanus, the magnificent American black bear. Brought to you by Montana Recreations.
Beautiful. How fierce you must have been. That fur. You never even felt the cold, did you? If he hadn't preserved you, would anyone even know you disappeared?
Ooh.
Visitor center's a bust. I'm recording the strategic and operational value at roughly 0 point squat. No reason we shouldn't pack the staff onto a vert and send them back to Nowheresville as soon as the gates are locked. Enjoy basic income, ding-dongs.
That's Dodd Blevins. Gotta love old Dodd. Old Dottie. Our final 2 weeks from Marnie Jeffords. To all staff from Marnie Jeffords, addressing the rumors. Some of you have overheard portions of the, let's call them spirited, conversations I've been having with the charming Mr. Blevins in my office over the past week. So let's address the honking big elephant we're crammed into this room with. The park has been acquired by something called Firebreak, and they're restricting access to authorized personnel. Wish I had more details to share, but those are literally the ones I've been given. Upshot, this isn't a national park anymore. No visitors means no visitor center. We've got 2 weeks. Oh boy. I know this is not easy. If you're like me, this place represents something bigger and more important than a paycheck. Believe me, I'm right there with you. When I say that this park is the most beautiful place in America, it's not PR. And it's not hype. It breaks my heart to think that nobody will be around to applaud Old Faithful or stare into the beauty pool. But this is where we find ourselves. I realize there's a temptation to check out and give up, but I really need your help over the next 2 weeks. Tours will continue through Friday, so I'm going to need guides. And even though regular ops at the gift shop are suspended, we've got a ton of surplus merch to box up and ship back to manufacturers, including about a bazillion unsold Monrek holofigurines. Yes, Monrek wants everything but the display figs back. No, I can't imagine why either. Please, you guys, just give me 2 weeks of your time. I can't shut this place down alone. Best, Marnie. Yikes. That's a huge yikes. Wow. Guy's just chilling here. This guy looks like he's wearing a Celestial Nighthawk helmet. Is this Old Faithful? Oh shit, is this Old Faithful? Yeah! Let's go. Let's go. I got the suit on. Yeah, 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 yeah! Woo! Get a little rinse off. That's the power of the suit, baby.
I guess the old ones like these animals.
Animal figurine 1. Depicts a stout antlered animal inscribed 1 of 7 in a commemorative set. Circa 2042, Montana Recreations. Traded Hollow Hall for valuable rewards. So how, man, it's crazy that that thing would grow in here. Yeah. It's so cool. So much. All right, take that. We're gonna just sort of work our way. God, there's so much to do. Like, there's this whole thing up here. This is a big ass expansion. Oh yeah, I should have talked to that guy. Come here, horsey. No, I forgot to talk to him. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, what up, travelers? Don't mind me riding a machine around Yellowstone.
Ursus Americanus, the magnificent American black bear. Brought to you by Montana Recreations.
Beautiful. How fierce you must have been.
I hate to interrupt.
Oh, Yes. Hello, Well, an outlander at the Shrine of Forgotten Beasts. Welcome. I'm Enjuk.
Aloy. The Shrine of what?
When the old world still breathed, a great man built a tiny totem to this beast and stored the visage inside. When the totem is placed on the pedestal, the animal is painted onto the empty air, and the beast lives again. Well, almost.
There are 7 pedestals. Where are the other 6 figurines?
I found this one in the wilds. Remembered the indentations in the pedestals here, and saw how they matched the base of the totem. But as you say, it's one of 7, isn't it? The great Montana Recreations must have made more, but time has scattered them.
So these totems, the images they show are of animals that no longer exist. They're gone, like the old ones.
So it seems. To think such magnificent creatures are lost to us, that we never even knew they were here. We rely as much on beasts as we do on machines. For food, for warmth, but do we study them with the same fervor? Yeah, I do. For example, I have this theory about foxes. Why do foxes have red fur? Think about what they eat.
Meat?
Raw meat. Bloody meat. See? Natural causation. Logical connections. It only makes sense.
You've thought a lot more about foxes than I have.
I like this guy. I like this guy. Okay, first of all, it just shows how devastating the loss of Apollo is, man. But, you know, think about how cool it would be to discover your world again. You know, like one of the big bummers about being an adult and like learning about what stuff is you can essentially plant yourself in a position where you just don't see stuff that makes you curious anymore. Because you know what it is. And there are other aspects of it that you just don't care about. These people, because they didn't have access to Apollo, are rediscovering stuff. And so now this guy has to rely on his own limited like education and exposure to a fox to essentially use one-to-one concrete reasoning. He literally looks at cause and effect as the possibility for why something exists the way that it does. Why is a fox's fur red? Because it eats raw meat. You got to start somewhere with scientific understanding. Like, this is how science develops. You start with very simple questions and you try to figure out the answers, and then you refine from there. And so, you know, we might know that it probably has something to do with like genetics and evolution and yada, 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 yada. Maybe there is something that has to do with red meat. I don't know. I didn't go to school for that. But this is how it all starts. You figure it out. And it takes a long time. But it's wild how we had all of this figured out, or like a lot of it figured out, and then it just, Ted Farrow just wiped it out. So now this guy's got to hypothesize about foxes in a way that like is kind of cool, but also is like, damn, man, like this really set us back. I will be right back. I'm going to tuck my wife into bed. She's going to bed super late tonight. So I will be right back. Give me like a minute and 30 seconds. Great time to go get yourself a snack or something like that. I'll be back.
I've got a few more figurines for you, Enjuk.
This textured box must be opened to reveal its contents. All right, so I can give him the animal figurines for these. Cool.
Thank you, Aloy. Look, such form and poise they have upon their pedestals. Montana Recreations truly captured their legacy.
They looked empty to me, but I see what you're going at.
You said a great man made these figurines?
Indeed. He was, I believe, a student of the natural world. Like me, but surpassing my abilities 1,000 times over. The great Montana Recreations. Perhaps the finest natural scholar the old world ever produced. His voice claims responsibility for the totems, the vessels for the knowledge he accumulated. I share his desire to understand the beasts, to catalog their behaviors and preserve their images. I like to flatter myself that I'm an apprentice of sorts, carrying on his work. Someday, perhaps, if I am persistent, I can earn his name. Enjuk Recreations.
That's so wholesome and awesome. God. It's so just, I love Guerrilla so much for how they wrote this world. There is so much care that went into understanding how these humans would have developed and understood the world when they don't have access to all the information that we have. It's beautiful. They don't know what a state is. They don't know, like, the whole concept of, like, a state and the United States and a country and, like, all and local government versus federal government and blah 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 blah. They don't have any knowledge of this because Apollo just said Apollo offline. So the only thing this guy knows to understand it is that this Montana Recreations isn't a giant conglomerate that is archiving and saving all of the stuff from Yellowstone National Park. He thinks it's a dude, and he thinks it's the guy whose voice he hears when the air is painted. It's so beautifully consistent and understandable of, like, why these people would be this way. And I appreciate so much the little details on this. It's so awesome. Because that's exactly how you would make sense of it. Because you don't have the knowledge to put it together. And the fact that this guy even puts his own, like, Banuk customs on it to essentially be like, you know, I hope I can earn his name. Man, it's so good. It's so good. Mr. Recreations really did a great job. He was a great scholar. He thinks it's one dude, not which makes me wonder what people would have thought of Apollo had Apollo been around. Man, wow.
I should get going.
Of course, of course. I've taken up so much of your time already. But I don't suppose you could keep an eye out for more figurines?
If I run across any, I'll bring them your way.
Hell yeah. And then I'll open the cool-ass boxes you give me as a result. Blue Gleam, nice. Badger Bone and Metal Burn. Awesome. I'm just gonna leave my shit here if you don't mind. All right. Good stuff. All right, I'm glad we talked to that guy. But does that now mean that the figurines are on their pedestals? Yeah. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Ursus Americanus, the magnificent American black bear. Brought to you by Montana Recreations.
How would you like to find yourself cornered by that thing?
I suspect I'd like it very much indeed. What a beautiful beast you were.
Puma Concolor, the fearsome cougar. Brought to you by Montana Recreations.
It's coat is sand-colored. Could it have been a burrowing animal? Perhaps those teeth were only used for digging.
Alcis, the noble moose. Brought to you by Montana Recreations.
The horns grow like trees. Of course, this moose used those bizarre growths to blend in with its forest home.
It's so great.
All the winters coming at once.
So wrong, but so great. Oh God, it's awesome. Brought to you by Montana Recreations. Because we have to insert corporate names into every goddamn thing that exists. Because brand recognition is the end boss of late stage capitalism. Oh God. Brought to you by DrMick, game sessions with a therapist. It's I, DrMick. DrMick, you're watching DrMick. This analysis brought to you by DrMick. YouTube.com/DrMick. TikTok.com/@DrMickTalk. Instagram.com/DrMickLive. This Bandit Camp Clear Out brought to you by Twitch.tv/DrMick.
You're dead!
That shot knocked it off. I see the alarm. Hope I don't hear it too.
Oh, you will, because I completely forgot about it. I don't know where it is, but I gotta shoot it. It's not that. Oh God, where is it? Oh, there it is. Really?
The bloody rider!
Go! Make it happen! Sun's gonna shine for you when I'm done. Got another shot for you. Won't survive this. Ducking down, fool.
All right. Is that how you end every therapy session? This therapy session and brilliant psychoanalysis brought to you by Starline Therapy. Bringing psychotherapy, individual, couple, and family services to people physically located in Illinois and Nevada. We're still working on our slogan, brought to you by DrMick. There's one person here hiding. Where are you? Is it that dude chilling all the way over there? Yep. We have no idea who these people are. I have no idea. I'm guessing they're Eclipse, but I don't really know what they're doing up in Banur. Maybe they're trying to achieve the great scholarly understandings of Montana recreations. Skyrim, climb your way up here, Aloy. Let's see what we got. But seriously, what? So many deceased humans. Some bandit child huddled up in a tent. I gotta take him out. What the hell? Is this just like buggy? Did they sound the alarm? I don't believe so. Oh, maybe they did. This one's like... That one's lit up. Dude, this snow is ridiculous. Yeah, so they did, but... There's probably... Oh, there he is. There he is. You dick. Anybody else? Oh my god. It's the most ridiculous bandit camp in the history of bandit camps right now. There it is. Jeez.
You large skulls let an intruder get in here. Don't let them get out again. Find them.
It's the Riddler.
Fire and spit. There's one of them and more of you.
Put fire on my arrows, and all of a sudden I can't shoot them worth a shit. Alright, you know what?
Let's see how much of a mess you make. Gonna destroy you.
I will destroy you! I will destroy you!
Feel this one.
He won't be torching anything else. The Oseram's fire weapon. Could come in handy.
Nice. All right. Forge fire. Probably will not ever use it. That's okay. All right. Tutorial. Forge fire. Set 3 machines on fire using a flamethrower. All right, maybe I will use it at some point. We'll see. See how I... All right. So... let's go down to this campfire, and then we'll kill this thing, and then we'll go back up El Norte. Man, we haven't had like one of these nice chill episodes in a while. This is kind of nice for me. Oh boy. You know, one of those nice ones where I kill Aloy by Skyrim climbing everywhere.
Sure.
Oh, jeez. There we go. The majestic bald eagle. Dead. Alright, there's another tower around here. It's over there. Oh, makes such a cool noise. Oh, look at these dudeskies hanging out here. Pow! Well, that one's dead, I guess. What are you gonna do? What would Mr. Montana Recreations think about that? I don't know. Probably would find a way to monetize it. This dead eagle, poached by a Nora woman, brought to you by Montana Recreation. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how that's gonna go. Alright, got that campfire. Good. Now we're gonna go up north to the Stone Yield. Come on, homie. Yeah. Oh wait, that's all right. I already cleared that out. Oh, I didn't get the bonfire for that. All right, whatever. Let's go up here. Maybe I can pass through the town. It doesn't look like it. God, they did such a good job rendering this area. Truly. Dr. Nevada. I'd be Dr. Recreations. Nevada Recreations. We're all Dr. Recreations. We just have different first names. Go. Today you're a mountain longhorn. No. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Come on. Come on. Get your ass up this hill. Little blue gleam. Yeah. Yeah. Give me that. The Majestic Eagle. That was a long shot. Why do we keep finding dead birds of prey?
Now they're hunting.
That's right, run away, coward. Or come back with your friends. Oh God. Okay. Climb on up, Aloy. Whoa. Oh, shit. Oh, baby. We got some, Alright. We got some corrupted big boys.
So much for being careful.
Oh. Oh yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Stop.
Dun, 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 dun.
Look at you.
What's up, buddy?
Good for an old remedy.
All right, took it down. That'll show him. Meanwhile, everybody back in the original place is like waiting for this whole thing on the spire, and we're just like,
Ugh, this scrapes.
just doing my thing up here in the frozen wilds. Ooh, man, look how, oh man, look how close we are to the volcano. Holy shit. Yeah. Go. All right, now we're gonna go. So I came up here. I kind of want to go over here just to see what's over there. Helis is waiting, holding his troops back so that he can give Aloy another speech. Yeah. That dude loves to hear himself talk, that's for sure. Ah, the frozen wilds. I remember the soft enamel of the frozen lair on top of the soft snow as my feet penetrated through in the same way that all the spirits penetrate through our membrane of skin, which reminds me that I have skin that I've tattooed with the fates of my enemies and the blood of the people that I don't like, because anybody who doesn't follow the spirits that we follow is unlikable and must be met with the wrath of the god that they don't believe exists, that will wrap into our skins. I recall a time when I, a muscly, well-endowed man, and I mean that with muscles, because not the way you think that I mean it, because nobody would know that that's a thing, and nobody would trust me because I'm insufferable, and nobody wants to see my endowment unless it's about the huge sums of money that I've acquired by leading the tribes to meaningful resistances against the plague and scourge that is the Savage East. God, I hate that guy.
You're not gonna like this.
All right, nothing up here. Is Doc losing it? I'm just so cold up here in the frozen wilds. Lonely and cold. All a man has is his thoughts. Back to the trail. And we're gonna go to the right after we get to this. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Just on my bighorn sheep. Just climbing up. Don't mind me. right, so now we go back this way, and then we go left at the fort. Out of here. Yeah, ram him. The survivor. An ancient Warwick from the Banur, the White Teeth, are overseeing a test of endurance. 2 hunters are missing. The Banuk law forbids aiding them. I don't care. Remember everything I said about customs and respecting them?
Keep moving.
Ignore it. When it's convenient for you. Like any other red-blooded American.
An outlander, huh? Well, who else would join me on this path I've taken? Which path would that be?
Away from tradition. Away from the Warwick. It's not so. Damn. They need metal too. But my need is greater.
I was told the Banuk don't accept help. Is it true?
They don't. I do.
Yeah. I feel like Aloy's gonna connect with this fine lady.
We hunt well together. Look sharp, Outlander! There's more of them!
Not the Glint Hawks. Hey, why don't you take out the Glint Hawks? I'll handle the ground stuff. Damn it.
What can stand against us?
Hell yeah. What's up?
You fight well. I am a Cree.
Thank you. I'm Aloy. What are you doing all the way out here?
This is where the hopefuls of the White Teeth Warwick are honed by machine, storm, and ice. The Warwick will be waiting just over that ridge for our return, but not for much longer.
Our.
I stayed to protect another. My Len. She fell and snapped her leg. There's no more time. She has to move.
You know this Mylan well.
Since our knees were always skinned. All my life. In a test to prove that we only need ourselves. That was my weakness.
Sounds like she was lucky for your weakness.
That's not the way she sees it.
Mylan won't let you help her, will she? Because of the rules of this test.
You're quick as a rockfall.
No, just used to being told what's forbidden to me.
She won't allow it. Won't take the medicinal plants I found or the food. Only what she can scrape up on hands and knees. I could get close when she was delirious. But now she's learned not to let me get close.
Another fascinating example of what do you do when cultural norms are involved. Like, this stuff is not as cut and dry as we like to think it is, in part because we all like to believe that our value systems and our code of morality is the ideal one, which is why you often see people try to pull people over in certain directions with that. So we might look at this and say, well, tradition's really stopping this person from surviving. Why wouldn't you accept help if you're in trouble? And yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of us to be like, well, that really sucks. Like, if this person's going to die or be injured because of some arbitrary social construction, that's not great. And there's an argument to be had there that that's an example of a cultural norm existing in a way that's antithetical to survival of the people who follow it. And also, there's an argument to be made that if that's a code of conduct or a morality system that a person would say that they are consenting to and that they adhere to, strongly follow, and believe in, do you push yours on to them? And I realize that what I'm saying right now is running what some may perceive to be counter to what I was talking about very early on in the game when we were talking about the Nora and how all they do is just pray to the All-Mother for shit, and they just don't attend to the reality of what's around them. And I could make this exact same conversation happen in that context as well. But it's fascinating. And at some point, you have to make a decision of what's most important to you. Is it survival of the individual, of the tribe? Is it the spirituality that you subscribe to? Do the Banuk have exposure to alternative forms of doctrine to follow? Because maybe it's that this person, this Mylen person, is sitting there saying, I can't accept help because she's been indoctrinated into believing that that's the only way that you can show your worth to the Banuk. And maybe there's social reinforcement mechanisms that make it such that if she receives help, then she gets excommunicated. And then we have the issue where she's essentially Aloy. Like, it's a real nightmare having to navigate some of this arbitrary shit that humans come up with in order to make truths out of their world. And if you're Aloy here, probably not the time to necessarily take the lead, but to listen to this person, because she's already showing a willingness to buck the system. It's just really interesting stuff. Like, it makes so many conversations when people get into the weeds on their like morality and their values. It's what makes it so complicated. It's not, it makes sense to us, whatever it is that we subscribe to, but that doesn't mean that it makes sense to other people. Aloy's like, dude, you got to help her no matter what. Are you kidding me? Make her accept help. That could be traumatic for her. Like, that could ruin that this Mylen's entire like life. Like, she could be like forever just choose to engage in all these wild self-defeating narratives because she accepted help or was forced to accept help from some outsider that came in. Like, that's what you're up against with some of this stuff sometimes. And that's why it comes down to then trying to control what you can control. Like, do you set some boundaries with that? Do you try to stay away from it? Like, what do you do? It's not easy.
Is joining the White Teeth so important to you?
It's one of the great weraks of Ban-Or. Not so many great ones left now. I would go where Mylen went. I was her shadow on the snow, and she was mine. To be a runner with the White Teeth was everything to her.
What's this ordeal supposed to prove?
That we have the strength of our ancestors. That we can survive as they did. When they came in search of a homeland. Somewhere.
Do you love the irony of the only way that we can prove that we'll survive is to put ourselves in a space where we might not survive? It's just, I get it, because you do have to like prepare yourself for the adversities of the world that you live in. But like, the great irony of this is, in order for me to prove I can survive, I have to survive a test that's designed to kill me.
Trapped against this glacier by a snowstorm. 4 days, 4 nights. After the storm cleared, the survivors sighted a tall neck, which led them up into Ban-Or. Well, that's the story I learned anyway.
So let's get her back to the Werak.
All right. I've made a splint for her leg. Medicine for the pain, but I should warn you, she won't take them willingly. The law of survival...
Tribal law shouldn't keep us apart from the ones we care for.
Even if she cares more for the law.
Oh man, you know who that sounds like? It sounds like good old Papa Rost. Tribal law shouldn't keep us from the ones we love. I mean, Aloy's speaking that one from the gut. Because Rost is essentially this person. Rost chose the rules and law of the tribe over connection with Aloy to an extent. It's a tough pill to swallow. So Aloy's got some experience working with this kind of situation. But Aloy, in some ways, has to be very careful here now because she has such a deep, gutturally emotional lived experience of this kind of dynamic. She's biased going into this. She has to be very careful to ensure that she does not treat this person in a way that would be compensatory to how she handled the situation with Rost. You might think to yourself, oh, that's super easy to do. Are you kidding me? You see this person is entirely different. When you get into the emotion of this and there's that many parallels, unless you are really cognizant and intentional about the way that you approach this, you are very likely to fall prey to some compensations and some bias in here that you may not directly attend to if you're not aware of it going in. So this is a big moment for Aloy in some ways to really focus on being present in the specific moment and context she's in, instead of overly borrowing from her history with Rost that had some parallels. It's hard to avoid that fully, or to have that not influence this because of how impactful that was in her life and how many parallels there are here. But yeah, there's always the question of who do the traditions serve?
Cold. Very cold. I get it.
And I really think that, like, the thing that you want to consider in a situation like this, if you're going to follow tradition, it's okay to follow tradition, but I think it's really important to critically think about the traditions and the, like, cultural events and narratives and all these sorts of things. I just think it's really important to critically think about them. If it's something that you ultimately land on, yes, I agree with this. I'm into it. I understand it in context. I realize that there's other stuff out there, but this is what's right for me.
That's where we're going. The frozen flow from the Ice Father. It keeps many things, but it won't have her.
Not if we can help it.
But blindly following these things just because it's easier or because it's what you've always known, I think there's real value in taking a second to think through it.
More up?
We're lucky. Handholds have thawed. There. She's passed out again.
Between us, we can fight the machines off before they reach her.
They're right there.
Another tradition broken.
Take it from me. It gets easier the more you do it.
Keep it up! Scrappers! In thin air, they smell metal for miles. Glad to have you beside me, Aloy. Scorchers now! This won't be easy, Aloy.
Probably won't be too bad. Holy shit. Okay, well, that was the big old bear. Who's a big bear? Okay. You know what? No. No.
We did it.
Oh, man. All right, let's find out how she's going to accept our help in part 29. Thank you very much, my friends, for hanging out. I appreciate that you take the time to watch these videos. I hope you enjoyed this episode, even if you don't like the cliffhanger. Y'all fabulous. Leave a like, leave a comment, follow the links down in the description. If you're binging, good news. You can go pop right over to 29. If you're waiting for the next one to come out, we'll get it out as soon as we can. But you all are fabulous. Thanks for being such an amazing community. I am very grateful for every single one of you, whether you watch these on YouTube, if you hang out on Twitch, whichever one it is. Thank you very much. Tell your friends, and I'll see you in the next one.